Coming up, we'll show you how the Tops edged one out over the Monarchs, and we'll set this week's matchup with FAU.
And we got another highly anticipated WKU basketball team, all that and more here on the Extra Point.
Extra Point.
Thanks for joining us on this week's edition of the Extra Point. I'm Dalton Godbey, joined by Miles Schroader. Miles, we got a couple looks at that brand new Hilltopper basketball team, and Rick Stansbury done a good job of bringing in some recruits. But right now it's still football season, so we're going to dive right into that. Western Kentucky, Old Dominion, the Tops, and the Monarchs, Sanford and crew headed out to Virginia this past Friday to take on a very talented conference opponent, and boy, was it a shootout. The Monarchs would hang 7 in the scoring column first, but Mike White would find Jaquez Sloan on a 44-yard pass to the end zone to knot things up in the first quarter. White would then connect with Yelder and Eccles-Looper for touchdowns in the second quarter to give them a 21-14 lead heading into the break. Half numero dos would feature a shootout between the teams, but Mike White would find Jernigan in the paint, and it would prove to be the deciding factor as Western Kentucky goes on to hold one in Norfolk, 35-31.
Well, very, very proud of the football team for finding a way to get a victory in a tough environment. Old Dominion, I think that what really came out of this victory for us as a team was the continued growth of the mantra of family within our locker room, within our program, from players to players, coaches to coaches.
For the past 2 weeks, Mike White has been crucial to this WKU offense. Against the Monarchs, Mike White found the mark 24 out of 34 times for over 300 yards. White's also showing us just how many weapons this WKU squad has to offer, as he found 5 different receivers in the end zone for the second week in a row. And 2 of those 5 Ts were the part of the 14-0 comeback in the final minutes of the game versus Old Dominion. That performance gave White the nod for the weekly David O'Brien Grade 8 performer for just the second time in his career on the Hill. Now Saturday, White and company are up against some stiff competition. Last Chance U quarterback DeAndre Johnson and his FAU club. While the Owls are coming into this one 4-3, this will be no easy task for Coach Sanford and company. The FAU squad scored 11 drives last week, all of them coming at the beginning of the game, and they picked up a 30-point win over Old Dominion in the week prior. Not to mention they have a running back in Devin Singletary who's already racked up 14 touchdowns this season. Coach Sanford is also getting his first shot as head coach to take on former Oakland Raiders coach Lane Kiffin. So this is certainly one Topper fans will want us to be at. The action will start at 3:30 in LT Smith Stadium.
Earlier this month, assistant football coach Jeff Dart was diagnosed with vertigo. Days later, MRIs revealed 2 tumors on Dart's brain. And on October 13th, he underwent a brain operation in Nashville to remove those tumors. According to WBKO's Chad Bishop, the surgery went smooth and there were no complications. Dart is recovering from the procedure now and is expected to return to the field at the end of this year. It's almost basketball time in the Bluegrass. Well, almost. The Western Kentucky men's team flashed their talents to fans on Saturday as they held an open scrimmage. Jared Savage, a transfer guard from Austin Peay, led the way as he netted 15 points and added 10 rebounds. However, Savage won't be eligible until next season. Freshman guards Tavion Hollingsworth and Josh Anderson scored 15 points. Rick and his crew take to the hardwood for their home opener on November 1st when they play host to Campbellsville.
You know, I see some things that we got to do, and we just got to get better at some areas.
I mean, yeah, it was good at, it got a little sluggish as we went on. Guys got a little bit tired. You could tell the fatigue starting to set in. And I mean, you kind of going to have that when you're playing 5-on-5, no subs out there, anything like that. But, it's good to just be able to run up and down. And
keeping it on the hardwood, a few Hilltopper basketball players have been honored by Conference USA. On the men's side, Justin Johnson was named to the preseason all-conference team for the second consecutive year. Johnson averaged 14.5 points per game as a junior and also led the team in rebounds at over 9 per game. For the women's team, 2 Lady Toppers have been honored as preseason all-conference team members, Tasia Brown and Ivy Brown both being selected on the prestigious list. This marks the second year in a row that the Lady Tops have had 2 players selected to the All-Conference preseason team. Now, Miles, I once heard a tale that Rick Stansbury gave one of his managers his credit card and said, go buy any Nike WKU gear they could find in Bowling Green. Now, is that true? Who knows? But if it is, Rick won't need the managers to go on a Nike hunt any longer. Western Kentucky Athletics unveiled their brand new uniforms sponsored by Nike. And would you just take a look at those bad boys? Some slick looks right there for the Tops. Look good, feel good, play good. At least that's how the old saying goes. We'll see soon enough if that holds true. Hey, Tops, just do it.
And Dalton, that's not the only basketball story going on right now. Though I headed down to the rec center earlier this week to check out how Cameron Levis is impacting the adapted sports in the Bowling Green community. Wheelchair basketball has made its way to Bowling Green. Every Monday evening in the Cummer Little Rec Center, people with and without a disability can join together.
I just love like how there is no differences. Like when we're all like in a wheelchair, like you're walking on the street, like there's that unspoken difference. But when we're all here together, I feel like there's no difference. And I feel like we're all just hanging out and having a good time.
Bringing people together is something Cameron Levis has wanted to do for his entire life.
I think one of the most special things is I grew up around this population and these things. My mom works for the Parks Department in Louisville. You know, this is something that I wanted to get done, and to see it finally come to fruition and be able to offer these programs and really expand our demographic is huge.
Levis's program has opened up a new window of opportunity for Maddie Duncan.
It shows a lot of people that no matter your ability or disability, you can do anything. They're always amazed that, you know, we can get out here and we can play sports and we can do the same things they essentially do, but we just have to do it a different way.
The new style of play certainly doesn't come natural to all.
10 times or more harder. It's just mentally, it's just a lot harder. Like anybody can play. Like you're in the same situation as somebody that would normally be in a wheelchair, and in this case, they're probably at an advantage.
But the game itself isn't what keeps people coming back.
Week after week, I just love the people here. Like when you find a good set of people, you come back to those people.
If you're interested in Levis's program, head on down to the Cummer Little Rec Center on Mondays at 4 and check it out. And after the break, Harrison Vault gives us some insight on a Greek tennis star and her journey on the hill.
And that soccer team is finding their groove. Find out if they were able to continue their win streak next.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck.
So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Whew. Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
Recently, our country has witnessed catastrophic devastation. Hurricanes and flooding have upended lives and livelihoods.
Across this great country, Americans have answered the call.
That special calling that compels us when others are down to step up and do whatever it takes.
America's at her best when, against all odds, we come together and lift each other up.
Please donate to oneamericaappeal.org. America needs you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Following the Ohio Valley Regionals, we've gotten our last look at WKU tennis this season, but this isn't our last look at the players on that team. Extra Point reporter Harrison Valk has more.
WKU graduate student and tennis player Elpida Malamu made WKU history, being the first Lady Topper to get the most wins in WKU tennis.
I was so excited and so happy that I made it because I really like WKU. I really like that I made history for this team and this university.
During her sophomore year, Elpida had 9 wins in a single play, playing in 8 double matches in all 17 matches. In her junior year, she led the team 14-1 with singles and wins, and was the first in her conference to do so. During her senior year, she competed in the ITA Women's Championship.
I always wanted to participate in the tournament since my first year, so being able to go there at my last year, that was great.
Focusing on every practice and tennis match, Elpida always gives 100%, wanting to win for her teammates and coaches. She also hopes to do something more with tennis in the future, specifically as a professional tennis player.
I hope and I wish I can give it a try, maybe go back home, be with my family, have their support, and like travel a little bit, playing some tournaments. And if it turns out well, I may continue to do that.
Elpida is currently working on her master's degree in recreation and sports administration, and wants to be a head assistant coach for her college tennis team if she does not play professionally, but she does not want to coach in the U.S.
Maybe this is not something that I really like, because eventually I want to go back home in Greece or maybe in Europe, where college athletics is not such a big thing.
Though she's not sure what her future holds, Elpida can definitely say WKU has made an impact on her tennis career.
We get to travel a lot, going to different places every time. It's really fun. Competing against different teams is fun. Being around my teammates, which are all international right now, it's fun.
Reporting for The Extra Point, I'm Harrison Volk.
Now, it's going to be a little while before the tennis season starts back up, but if you want to make early plans for next year, the team will head to Nashville on January 13th to take on Lipscomb University. So, coming into this week, the Lady Topper volleyball team hadn't lost a match in about a month and a half. Saturday evening, UTEP took their shot at the ladies in red, and well, the Lady Tops did what they've been doing. With the help of Jessica Lucas's 33 assists, Alyssa Kavanaugh led the ladies in kills with a remarkable 19 on the night. WKU went to win that one 3-0 and waited for UTSA to come into town Sunday afternoon. The ladies handled the business in that one as well, sweeping the Roadrunners 3-0. WKU will take on conference rival Marshall tomorrow evening in Dill Arena. That match will begin at 6.
Last week, the Western Kentucky ladies soccer team took to the road as they battled with UTSA in San Antonio, Texas. The first half was a defensive battle as neither team was able to score, but the Hilltoppers would strike quick as Alexandria Kozovic would punch one in off of a free kick right after the break. And then it was Hannah Cady scoring for WKU to make it 2-0. UTSA would finally score on a Lacey Jordan shot, but the Hilltoppers would run away with things as Chandler Backs found the back of the net in the 85th minute to seal the deal. Western Kentucky extends their win streak to 3 in a row as they take the dub 3-1. They'll take on Marshall tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. for senior night. We talk about all kinds of sports here on The Extra Point, but one WKU student is showing that his sport deserves mention as well. Curry McCullough gives us a look at how Jadir Rivera found his way into competitive lifting.
To quote, "When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful," speaks to the heart of one WKU student. With the spark of caffeine and the power of music to boost energy, Jadir Rivera is high-powered for the night. While some students are up late studying, Jadir is training like a champion. His choice of activity, competitive powerlifting.
I didn't really plan on, competing when I got into college until I met a couple people who also powerlifted in Preston and things like that, and they kind of talked me into doing it competitively.
Competitive powerlifting is a sport that requires more attention to detail, a very strict diet, and an intense workout schedule. With many challenges facing his direction, he says he takes things head on, and that he did. Participating in a handful of competitions, his most successful moment was placing fourth in a national competition in Orlando, Florida, which just so happened to land him a qualification for next year's national USA powerlifting meet in Washington.
It's all about beating myself, just trying to make sure that I'm not my worst enemy and make sure that everything I do was better than the way I had it the day before.
Rivera says he is adamant to work every day and be the best he can be. His next competitions may be small, but at the end of the day, it's all about being the best you. Reporting for The Extra Point, I'm Curry McCullough.
Rivera says he will continue to train throughout the year until the national championships in Orlando.
And after a quick commercial break, we'll take a look at a high school trio who's making their last name heard.
And high school football season has come and gone. The regular season only a week from wrapping up. We'll break down the area matchups next.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
An update on some area high school soccer. First, the girls' 4th region title game featured Bowling Green and Greenwood. Now, Bowling Green would go on to win that one 3-1, and they would also win the first round of the state tournament versus Henderson County by a final of 2-0. They traveled to Lafayette High School to take on West Jessamine. That matchup is set for October 28th. Now, for the boys' side of the things, the 4th region title game featured Warren Central and Glasgow. Warren Central went on to win that matchup 3-0. And they also won the first round of state versus Hopkinsville. Now, they couldn't do it in just 90 minutes. It took to PKs, but they would take the dub 3-2. They traveled to Lafayette as well to take on Campbell County. That matchup is also slated for October 28th.
This team, they're just really about each other. They're really about playing together, playing the right way. They took coaching well, and they took criticism from each other well, and it just helped build the chemistry together and, make for, magical season to, happen and continue going forward.
A few weeks ago, we brought you a story about a set of triplets at South Warren High School, but just down the road at Bowling Green High School, there's another family trio that's making their last name heard. Bowling Green High School holds over 1,200 students on a daily basis, and hundreds of them are athletes. But 3 of those athletes have more in common than being a leader on the field for the same school. Caroline, Whitaker, and Bo are all members of the Buchanan family tree, and sharing the same last name has created quite a camaraderie between the 3.
Well, I feel that we're closer than, just regular cousins are. I kind of feel like, they're my sisters and I got to protect them.
Oh, we're like all really close. Like, they're like my best friends, like outside and inside school. And
but don't think the bond between the 3 means that there's not a competition for Best Buchanan.
During like holidays when we all get together, even if it's not soccer or football, it's basketball or something like that, I always want to beat them and they always want to beat me.
And that competition has existed for quite some time now, as Bo remembers what it was like growing up for the 3.
Usually what would happen is, they'd play football with me for a little bit, they'd get angry and tell me to come over there and play soccer with them, and they beat me up in that, and we just go back and forth.
But that competition isn't exactly there for the entire Buchanan trio.
Not for me, but I think for like them, yeah. It's really funny because Whitaker will just go really hard because I feel like she just strives to be the best in everything she does. And I think Bo is trying really hard right now to like be the best of his ability.
Bo's dad has noticed what the competition does for the 3.
it's fun to watch it. They're kidding, but they're not kidding, and I think it motivates. Like one of them got a letter jacket before the other one, and one of them got to start a little bit earlier than the other one, and they dig at each other, but in the end, they always pull for each other.
The competition between the three has led them to vital roles for the Purples week in and week out. Whitaker booted in 2 goals on Tuesday night to beat Henderson 2-0, and one of them came on an assist from Caroline. And speaking of the Buchanans, Bo got his shot at South Warren on Friday night.
Miles, that's an understatement. That game was packed to the brim, a big stadium. Emotions were running high for both teams. Even had to break up a couple shoving matches early on. Now, the first quarter, like everyone expected, it was a tie ball game, 7-all, but Bowling Green would put back-to-back touchdowns in the paint. Check out Bo Buchanan right there hooking up with the receiver. Buchanan passes would find the end zone 5 different times for touchdowns. He would finish 16 for 21 with, check this out, 336 passing yards. What a night for that young man. Purples go on to take the win in the inaugural matchup. They roll over South Warren 43-7. Now, moving on to the next game, Coach Seabolt and his Gators trying to claim a victory as they hosted Highlands. And, Miles, that was a good matchup as well.
Yeah, Dalton, for sure. The Greenwood desperately needed a win in this one because they've lost 2 out of their last 3, and you know Coach Seabolt was hungry in a matchup like this late in the season. And if Seabolt was hungry, Jackson Adams was starving. The Greenwood quarterback ran for not 100, not 200, but 300 yards. Oh, yeah, and he found pay dirt 4 different times, racking up 24 out of his team's 35 points. Unfortunately for the Gators, the Bluebirds came from Fort Thomas hungry too. Their running back Cooper Swalbach trucked his way into the end zone 5 times, and the Highlands won that one 47-35 rather. Now, Franklin Simpson and Warren East went up against each other in a pretty anticipated matchup too, Dalton.
Yeah, and these are 2 very good football teams. They have talents on both sides of the football. Franklin Simpson's Trey Bass, he's really emerged as their best back for the Wildcats. And when you combo that with Saul Brady, that is a very good offense, and it is lethal. Warren East also has a good defensive back in Dylan Boards. He's one of the best linebackers in the state. So it was interesting to see the Wildcats' high-powered offense go up against that Raider D. Thought maybe the Warren East defense could hold the Cats, but the offense, Miles, just too good. They'd go on to put 45 in the scoring column as they grab a W, 45-14. Now, for our final matchup from last week, ACS and Chase Wilson in their last district matchup of the season with Warren Central.
Yeah, Dalton, Chase Wilson has proved that he can flat out throw a football better than any quarterback in the area. Coming into this one, Wilson was leading the entire state in both passing yards and touchdowns. This performance versus Warren Central didn't derail that one bit. He threw for 276 yards and hit the mark in the end zone 3 different times. And man, he and Jacob Lightfoot are something special to watch. Wilson connected with Lightfoot 7 times for 177 yards, and the Patriots went on to win that one 27-0, and will play their final home game tomorrow against Meade County. That should be a good one. But Dalton, do you know about any other good games going on in the area?
Miles, there are some fantastic games going on right now. Tomorrow, to finish up the regular season, you've got Warren East hosting Bardstown. Warren Central will host Meade County. Bowling Green heading up to Louisville to take on Bullitt Central. South Warren travels to your hometown of Owensboro, and Greenwood heads over to Hopkinsville. And that is the matchup that I really like, that Greenwood-Hopkinsville, 2 very similar football teams.
Yeah, Hopkinsville has such a good defense, and that's going to be something Jackson Adams is going to have to work for. But he's shown up in pressure a lot this season, did it against Bowling Green, and I think you could see that against Hopkinsville as well coming into Friday night.
Yeah, you could very well see that. And Coach Seabolt, Jackson Adams, and that whole Gator team right now is striving for a win. They desperately need one, and it will be great to pick up one right here to wrap up the regular season, taking them into the playoffs with a little bit of momentum because they have a tough matchup there as well. But right now, that's all you've got for high school football. We're going to keep you updated that on Extra Point WKU on our Twitter page. And coming up, find out which volleyball star takes the nod for this week's Hero on the Hill.
And we've also got the World Series underway, and Game 1 and 2 are in the books. So there's a jaw-dropping performance we got to see from that game coming up.
Sweetheart, think about your future. Jeff over there didn't just look at him. He saved up, bought a house, he's got a beautiful wife. They even had a fancy pants destination wedding, and they had a baby! Ah! Smart and handsome, ooh la la. Now, I I've been saving these frames for pictures of my future grandbabies for years. And the shopping sprees on organic clothing and telephone cases is not helping you save for a family. Oh, gracious! Look at that! He's a model! Oh. I bet you he's putting all that money right into a 401k or his baby's college fund. And his teeth are so straight. See how good saving can look at feedthepig.org. Feed the pig.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Now, usually we bring you a jaw dropper from somewhere on WKU's campus, but the World Series is going on, and they had a performance that was just too good. Chris Taylor for the Dodgers in the first pitch, first at bat of the World Series, gets a hold of one, and as Berman would say, back, gone. Home run. Dodgers get on the board first, and that's history right there. Now, Clayton Kershaw was wheeling and dealing up there for the Dodgers. Check out this performance. He can throw a little bit of leather, and that curveball is nasty. 11 strikeouts, 0 walks. He knows how to pitch some baseball. The Dodgers are looking good with him. Now it's Big Red Justin Turner. Hey, Big Red, can I get a piece of gum? Rips one deep to left, and that ball is gone. A 2-run home run. The Dodgers go on to win that one 3-1. But in Game 2 would feature an Astros victory as they took that one series now tied at 1 apiece. But hey, we'll keep you updated on all of that right now on our Extra Point at Extra Point WKU.
Picking a hero on the hill this week was a tough one. We had Mike White throwing 5 TDs to 5 different receivers, Justin Johnson seeing himself on that preseason Conference USA team, but the nod this week has to go to Alyssa Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh racked up a total of 39 kills in the only 2 games she played this weekend. She topped that off with 2 digs, a block, and an assist as she and the Tops extended their winning streak to 19 games. And Kavanaugh wasn't done there either. She was named the CUSA Offensive Player of the Week for the 3rd time this season, earning her this week's Hero on the Hill.
And although she got Hero on the Hill, you have to talk a little bit about some high school stuff. How about the man Jackson Adams out of Greenwood? If we gave a Hero on the Hill for a high school player, you know he deserves it.
Yeah, he has to get it this week. He had over 300 yards in that game, and it was just really impressive to watch. He just fools the defense so well. It's hard to call his games because you don't really know where the ball is going, and I'm sure the defense feels the same way.
Yeah, and Greenwood also got a very tough matchup as the KHSAA football state tournament brackets have been set. We'll take a look at the 5A bracket right now. The Gators have a tough matchup, and the Purples don't have a cakewalk either in their first round with Owensboro.
Yeah, they're going up against an Owensboro team that put up almost 250 yards against them in that game they played earlier this season. They did beat them by quite a bit, but Owensboro's rushing attack is definitely something to look out for on the Bowling Green side. Now, what do you see happening at the top of that bracket, Dalton?
Well, Miles, I think we can all anticipate a South Warren and Bowling Green rematch for the region championship, and that would be an unbelievable matchup. South Warren not happy with their performance last week as they took a beating from the Purples. They want another shot at that, and I hope we get to see it because it will be a game for the ages right there.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. South Warren has a pretty tough road to go into that. They play Christian County, who hasn't lost a game all season, but if that matchup does happen again, I think we're going to see Spurrier get a few more touches than he did last time. He threw for about 61% on that night, so I think they're going to look to see him get the ball to Clayton Bush just like he loves to do.
Well, Miles, as high school football draws to an end, so does this edition of the Extra Point. But the good thing about that is that, as always, it's up.
And it's good.
For Miles Schroader, I'm Dalton Godbey. We will see you next week.